Ladies and gentlemen, at this time.
On fall Friday nights in South Georgia, the center of the community is easy to find. Beneath the stadium lights, families gather for high school football. The band plays. Players break through banners. Seniors are honored.
Thomas Williams with mother, Mary Williams.
In towns like Bainbridge, these traditions are part of the rhythm of small-town life. But beyond the lights, there's another part of the story that's harder to see. At sunrise, South Georgia looks different. This is one of the most productive farming regions in the Southeast. More than 2.5 million acres of farmland stretches across the region. Peanuts, cotton, corn, blueberries, tomatoes, and vegetables that end up on tables across America. Agriculture brings $91 billion a year to Georgia's economy and supports hundreds of thousands of jobs. Thousands of people spend long days planting, picking, and harvesting food that feeds the country.
This is a community that in particular very, very rarely is seen.
We're gonna go take care of some people.
And 3 times a year, a caravan of medical volunteers makes the drive from Atlanta to meet them where they are. For nearly 3 decades, students and faculty from Emory University have traveled here as part of the Emory Farmworker project.
We're going to start a caravan off to our clinic site.
Jody Guest, professor and senior vice chair of epidemiology at Rollins School of Public Health, is the director of the project.
This Emory Farmworker project is a project where we provide health care to migrant and local farm workers who pick our fruits and vegetables here in Georgia.
In South Georgia, the workday often begins before sunrise and ends long after the heat of the day. Thousands of people spend their days planting and harvesting the fruits and vegetables that fill grocery stores across the country. The work is physically demanding, and access to health care can be hard to find. But 3 times a year, the Emory Farmworker project helps change that.
We did a good job getting here. All the fellows, the PAs, med students, all right here.
In just a few minutes, an empty field
We'll set up the dispensary there.
becomes a pop-up clinic.
Hi everyone. This is traditionally our largest clinic site. 2 of the crews are already here and several more crews will be coming after they're done working tonight.
If somebody comes in and they want to talk about their acne, but they're also talking about chest pain, focus on the most important thing.
Everyone deserves access to health care, and everyone benefits when a community is healthy. And so we're here to provide that care to a community that is often overlooked and doesn't have a lot of access.
The clinic goes wherever the workers are, sometimes next to the fields before the day begins, other times, like tonight, beside the dormitories where they live.
We'll see the buses roll in from the field. They travel by school bus. A lot of times they go inside and they shower and dress up to come out to see us.
Medical care isn't the only support here.
See that? It's good space. You want space.
We collect clothes 365 days a year, the stuff that these workers want and need, and we're repurposing it and getting it to them.
Dang, man. Awesome.
Volunteer Lisa Powell collects supplies all year, then drives from her South Carolina home 3 times a year to meet up with the Farm Worker Project.
Almost any runner has probably between 5 and 10 pairs of shoes in their closet that they can't use for running anymore. And that is the number one thing that people want here, is they want athletic shoes or work boots. They know that somebody cares, and that's the key thing, knowing that somebody cares about the work that they do.
Está bien.
Carlos, ¿sí? Me llamo Elizabeth, soy una estudiante de medicina.
Patients begin with the triage check: blood pressure, heart rate, and other basic vitals.
Peso un poco elevado.
Then they're paired with a student clinician, physician assistant, medical, nursing, and physical therapy students.
And then you can just relax your hand like this.
Each visit happens face to face.
I'm going to take your blood pressure.
Ahora va a tomar la presión.
with a medical interpreter sitting nearby.
We train our students to work with medical interpreters, and so it is a very specific style. The student clinician sits across directly from the patient. They are always making eye contact and speaking directly to the patient, and the interpreter is sitting to the side of the patient.
Do you feel like your heart is ever beating really fast?
And completely specifically saying what the student is saying to the patient, and then answering back in the voice of the patient.
For the workers, it's a chance not just to receive care, but to be heard.
They're sending money to their family, but they're alone, and they're here to help provide for their family, and so they're very isolated. Yeah, it's tough. The work ethic is extremely intense. These are folks that don't want a reason to not go to work.
Are there any other medications that you take?
We see a lot of musculoskeletal pain from the consistent repetition of the type of work that they do.
Yeah, it's extremely common. It's something that we typically will have oftentimes based on the work that they're doing, the motions that they're doing too, a lot of like picking and bending over, doing that constantly. How about more on this side or this side?
You're bent over, you're picking, and then you're filling up a very large 35-pound bucket, and then for large tomatoes, and then you're hoisting it over your shoulder into a big truck, and you're doing this as often as you can in an hour.
Any pain?
The clinics also see untreated chronic illness.
Feels like it's an allergy.
We see a lot of untreated diabetes or uncontrolled diabetes, hypertension, foot fungus, pesticide exposure.
With one trip a week to buy groceries, many workers rely on cheap, shelf-stable food.
We've done work over the years that show that about close to 67% of the patients we will see, the people in the fields picking our fresh fruits and vegetables are food insecure themselves.
My patient, this is actually the first patient I've had, but he was telling me that in the past year he's had a lot of worries about running out of food, and there's been several times where he has run out of food. So this muscle rub is for pain.
Some of the most common issues aren't physical.
And then overwhelmingly a lot of social isolation, depression, and anxiety.
He said he's feeling depressed, he's having some hair loss, and he wanted to discuss his blood pressure. In addition, a fourth issue, he's feeling weak.
After each visit, students review the case with a supervising clinician, a preceptor, before returning to their patient with a plan.
Diclofenac, how often can he take it?
His PHQ-2 was positive, so I'm having to do a PHQ-9 right now.
That sounds good.
Awesome. Are you want to go see him?
Okay.
Depression is common here.
They're sending money to their family, but they're alone, and they're here to help provide for their family, and so they're very isolated.
We're giving him ibuprofen and a multivitamin.
Can I do just a hot compress and then some muscle rub?
For the students, it's real-world medicine.
A lot of musculoskeletal pain with some like knee pain, some back pain, some arm pain. A lot of the patients present with a lot of these complaints because they're working out in the field like 8 to 9 hours a day.
I want you to pull.
The physical strain of the work is something the students see again and again.
It's in his lower lumbar spine.
He's been having some muscle aches on his right shoulder here from the specific work that he's been doing, so we're trying to get some stuff to help relieve that pain.
He mentioned to me that he sometimes has some chest pain when he's out working in the field.
Some visits are routine.
His chest pain happens a couple times a week.
Others require more careful attention.
We're gonna get the rhythm.
On this night, one patient receives an EKG after reporting chest pain while working.
But we just wanted to make sure that there wasn't anything more serious going on, and there's not right now.
You can go ahead and sit up and put your shirt on.
Even basic medications can make a difference.
There's a lot of dust out here while they work, and it can cause some allergies. So what I'm getting for him is loratadine, which is a pill he can take every day before he goes out to work. That will kind of open him up and help with some of the swelling that's caused by allergies.
For many workers, the visit is about more than medical care.
They want someone to talk to.
Jesus Bocanegra, now a minister with this community, once worked in the fields himself.
I was getting paid $1.75 back in '93. I did 5 buckets on the first day. and my back, it was killing me. And I was 16, I was full of energy, full of, I was eager to make the money, but my body was like, this is a hard work. So on the first 6 months, I went into depression.
It's an example, absolutely, of public health and community engagement and investing in the people who are your neighbors. It's grown tremendously. It does not look the same as it did. It was 8 students and 1 faculty member and a car.
29 years later, the Farm Worker Project now brings together students from across Emory schools: medicine, nursing, public health, and physical therapy.
And I think it fundamentally changes who our students are when they graduate and how they think about where their food comes from, for sure, but also how to engage and how barriers and determinants of health impact their patients. I think that makes them see their patients as more whole humans.
By the end of the evening, more than 100 workers will have been seen. The clinic packs up. The volunteers drive hours back to Atlanta. Tomorrow, the workers return to the fields. But for a few hours here in South Georgia, care comes to them.
I think this is the best of what we do.